welcome back to a very, very long overdue episode of It's Football Not Soccer. We've been in somewhat of a hiatus for quite some time.
Still in shock from the Super Bowl, yeah?
Yeah, a little bit of that, definitely. So it's the usual three again, with Cal looking like he's on the substitute bench for the foreseeable. But
Drop to the practice squad.
Yeah. So we've got Ben.
Hello.
And his Browns.
Yeah. The hype wasn't real. But who knows? It all could come good.
The perpetual optimist.
That's it.
And we've got Wig.
The high-flying Eagles. Or is it the Chiefs? Even I'm confused these days.
It's got to be the Chiefs after that performance in the Super Bowl.
I got a soft spot for the Chiefs with Mahomes.
Okay, but you're
But it's
Eagles.
still about the Eagles.
Okay,
Still about the Eagles.
Why are the Chiefs not going to do very well this year?
Oh, no. They're not a franchise.
So we've been very busy. Fantasy season has finished. It's been painful on Sundays, not knowing what to do.
Yeah.
It's very much the meme of, what's his name from Narcos, just twiddling his thumbs and staring around, looking at nothingness on Sundays.
Poor Pablo.
Pablo Escobar, that's the man.
No, we've got soccer.
We've got what? Sorry? I think you'll find it's football, not soccer. So we've got some news. We've managed to break 500 followers on Twitter just before we started recording. So thank you for that, for following us. We are also on Instagram as well, as it's Football Not Soccer podcast, I believe. And we've got some dates coming up which are of importance to the NFL. So we thought we'd best kick back in with things and make an effort to put something back out there to the people. To our many listeners from the world, far and wide, from Thailand to
Cyprus.
Cambodia to Cyprus to Ireland to America,
Truly
including
international.
of which Marshawn Lynch's mom is
Lynch's
a
mum.
listener, apparently.
The most important listener.
Oh, but definitely. Beast Mom.
Beast Mom.
And so the dates coming up, we've got a very important franchise and transition tag. I nearly said franchise.
Franchise tags.
Yes. And that's on the 12th of March, which is a big date for a lot of clubs because there is some very prominent names on the cusp of hitting free agency and making a hell of a splash.
It's exciting. Exciting stuff.
And me, Dan, the host, or one of the hosts. Yeah, I had a very good off season with going totally unbeaten in one of my leagues. The perfect season.
It was a sight to behold. How about for you, Wig? Did you have a perfect season in our main league?
No, it wasn't the best of seasons, was it?
No, was it, Mick?
No.
Would you like to elaborate on that a little bit?
Oh, we covered it quite extensively through the season. I'm pretty certain we
Perhaps
did.
you'd like to jog our listeners' memories a little.
Well, I've got a special talent that I've discovered where if I pick a player, he's going to break. He's going to break.
The touch of Wig.
The touch of death. So, it's the only podcast where you can guarantee that you're going to get some insight.
Yeah.
Because whoever I'm picking,
good.
they're going to break. I'm going to be being contacted by physios soon, requesting that we stop.
It was an interesting season for me. I did quite sort of middle of the road, which is sort of better. I scored the most points out of our league.
Okay, that's good.
But you know.
But the schedule.
Oh, the
It's all about the schedule.
Burnt me.
Makes such a difference.
It did. Some notable hits, some notable errors, I think.
Yes, you did, didn't you?
Yeah.
Both of you, actually.
Yeah.
And luckily I was there to reap the spoils of your fiascos.
Didn't win anything with it, though.
I came second.
Second is the
It
first
is,
loser,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, it's not second to last, though, is it?
Well, yeah, but it won us the same, didn't it?
No, I'm not sticker bitch next year.
Oh, yeah, but I'm not the Sacco.
No.
And you're not the winner.
Nor am I the Sacco.
Yeah.
Or sticker bitch.
You have been Sacco, though,
For
right?
a change.
Sticker bitch is
Sorry, yeah, for our listeners, the sticker bitch is... Oh, who is the sticker bitch?
It's
yeah,
Wig.
Oh, it's Wig.
Please
It is
explain
Thank
to
you.
us what that
Okay,
was.
let's cover the
We're
sticker
rolling
bitch.
tail.
Well, I'll be taking inspiration from the finest sticker bitch I've ever met, which is yourself.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
And with poise and
Took me a
grace,
lot of-
I will fill out the draft board with an elegant air and demure class in a dress.
Been a dress found from a charity shop. One that didn't actually fit, and I ripped
Yeah.
thoroughly in wearing.
You did. So a small dress, apparently.
It was childlike, actually.
Yep. So I've got that to look forward to.
Yes, you do.
So
We
the
might
way
even splash out for a bow.
Oh,
come on.
A bow in the hair.
A
You
little bow in the
serious?
hair.
I mean, you guys missed that trick with me because I've plenty of hair to put a bow in, but that option wasn't taken.
You
However,
already look feminine enough from behind. And there are more than a few lads that would have had a crack at you.
So the sticker bitch is ultimately the person who puts everybody's picks on the board, on our draft board.
Because we're British, we like to have more to lose than to gain.
Yes.
So we have two technical losers. The overall loser of the league who lost the most, who gets the honour of being the sticker bitch.
Yeah.
And the loser off, which is more anticipated than the winner off.
Oh,
It
God,
really is. It's, oh boy.
Which thankfully I won in there.
We had the Watkin Bowl, didn't we?
did.
this
That's
year
it.
from the,
There is no sweeter feeling than beating your brother in the Watkin Bowl as a Sacco
Christmas
off.
dinner was enjoyable,
It was
wasn't it?
fantastic.
Oh.
He wouldn't make eye contact with me. It's like, I hate you. And I could tell it. I could tell with every fibre of his being that he was just hoping I didn't mention it.
As my first year in this league, I did not realise how stressful and tense those last few games are
my
when you're
life.
playing towards.
I've never felt such relaxation at this time now, because up to now I have been in the loser offs or the lower half of the league every year running, so it's a very stressful time for me. This year, however, was different.
That's it. Yeah, it doesn't matter if you win in some ways, does it? It's just nice not to be losing.
Oh, what a sense of relief. I can't tell you. It was just incredible. It was a remarkable feeling, and I'd highly recommend it to anybody feeling a little low. Do well in fantasy and relax.
Well, my plan for next year, based on me picking a whole bunch of players that broke, mostly running backs.
Is picking up their handcuffs.
No, because then they just break the handcuffs as well. Is to just pick up a lot of wide receivers. So I'm going to go wide receiver heavy and not worry so much about the breaking.
Well, that's very break the norm for you.
Yep,
because
and that isn't
you're
me.
a running back.
I'm going to go with a little bit of a deep dive before we start looking into which wide receivers haven't broken. And I'm going to target them with my picks. And I'll look for wide receivers that have had a real injury-free run so far. They've got no knee injuries, no ankle injuries, people who have played consistently. And I will look at trying to get some consistent points on the board.
You could argue are overdue an injury if they're that
Oh,
healthy.
come on,
Let's
let's not get down this route.
But it was a very difficult year for a lot of running backs. There was notable injuries.
And QBs.
QB.
There was about 8-9 starters that had gone in the first 6 weeks, perhaps.
There was a couple of big names as well at running back that just didn't perform how they could have performed.
Not at all.
Saquon stung people.
Oh,
Zeke
yeah.
Crossley,
as well.
I've been
Zeke,
there.
on previous years,
Yeah.
you know.
Kamara.
Kamara.
It wasn't a good year for running backs in that sense.
No.
But then you've got Christian McCaffrey who just stood out head and shoulders above everyone.
Sensational.
Dalvin
And Dalvin
Cook was
Cook.
fine. Yeah.
Dalvin
Cook was
Cook.
great.
You know, they
Great.
were the big hitters.
Yeah.
Then you go to wide receiver, and the story isn't necessarily those top end guys. It's those AJ Browns,
That's
the
it, yeah,
Chris
those.
Godwins, that really hit home. So it's difficult. It very much is difficult moving forward to really pinpoint where it's going. So you can say, "Oh, I'll go wide receiver heavy," but you could have picked some pretty big names.
Oh yeah, you could have ended up. I mean, Julio had an all right year, but he wasn't a league winner this year.
Yeah,
You could have
not
gone.
like he has
You could have
been
gone Julio
previous
OBJ,
Oh.
and you just wouldn't have
Done.
hit what you thought you were going to get out of them.
But I mean, same for Devontae Adams. He didn't have
Yeah,
a big year. He's
yeah.
injured. You know,
Came good in the end.
He did.
But it was a long, arduous...
Did.
Yeah.
Hopkins had his ups and downs. But
Yeah,
I think he was fairly stable. But
after the initial, first 4 weeks?
It wasn't so great to start with.
So it's a tough landscape for fantasy out there.
Yep.
So all the more reason to listen to us.
Yes. We've been there, we've ridden that horse, we've got fucked on that horse, been thrown off that horse in some instances.
Occasionally kicked.
And occasionally kicked.
And occasionally kicked when you're down.
Yes.
Yeah, don't know.
At one point, I looked back through where last year, at one point, I got 2 people on my team who I'd drafted who were fit.
Wow. That's quite a claim.
Yep, it was a rough year.
Yeah.
Yep, there wasn't a single player I drafted who was fit for the whole year. Even Mahomes took a hit.
Oh, yeah.
Mahomes missed 2.5 games.
Looking at your team, it looked good to go.
Oh, I look at my team at the last week when I outscored everyone, by the way, in the Sacco off. Outscored everyone in the league last week. Top scoring team. My team performed how it should have performed.
At least it came through.
Oh, yeah, when it counted.
Yeah.
But if that team had just...
If
woulda, couldas...
But maybe. So now we move on to a new year, a new dawn.
Yes. And to the aforementioned dates coming up. We have...
So, the deadline for the tags is the 12th. So when we say
franchise and transition tags, isn't it?
Which is a unique thing. Well, not a unique thing, but a special thing for this season only because of the CBA.
Collective bargaining agreements.
Because normally you wouldn't have a transition tag. So teams can actually this year tag twice.
Technical tag twice.
Yeah.
Which is the last time.
Unless they agree something again.
Yeah.
So
So
I think it's for 10 years.
What I believe is put forward so far. So this could potentially be the last time we see it in a long while.
Let's hope, because
I don't know. Is that bad?
Transition tag's not terrible.
No,
it does give
like
a team an option
tag. It's like
cut some space and find some money for a player.
Option.
Yeah, like a first option.
Almost, yeah.
But again, a lot of players don't enjoy playing at the teams they're at. They want to get out, and then another hurdle to keeping them in a team.
Yeah. I get what you're saying.
One thing I enjoy from soccer is sometimes the flexibility in players. Teams can make moves. I don't entirely think it's right how they do it, and I wouldn't want to see that in or as much movement in football. But the idea of locking a player in a team it kind of limits some of the fluidity of the league. Yes. So I can see why they do it, but so what exactly is the transition tag and what is the franchise tag? So the franchise tag is when a football team wants to keep a player who would otherwise enter free agency.
Yep.
And they have until the 12th of March, and they will wait until the last minute probably to do that. And they essentially say to a player, this is the only contract you can have this year. You are paid the average salary of the top 5 people at your position. So that's great if you think you're going to end up about the 5th or 6th or 7th, but terrible if you're going to be expected to be the highest paid in your position. Yeah. So it is a 1-year deal. And it essentially keeps you in that team for that period of time.
My suggestion would be that a player can only ever be franchise tagged once by a team.
Yeah.
See, what can happen is they can just franchise for a second year, a third year.
Well, that's when the players have to exercise their right to not play.
Yeah.
So they can refuse to play.
They can, but they're missing out on the money.
Yep.
So they've got to sit out unpaid for a year, and it's just not...
no, it's not great.
It doesn't seem like a good situation for a player to find himself
in. They need to sort that in the collective bargaining agreement, because that's where it's come from, is the players put the idea forward, the clubs have negotiated with them, and this is what they came out with, and it doesn't benefit the players.
So, we might talk about a lot of free agents. Whether all of those will actually enter free agency
is yet to be seen. But...
Now, the transfer tag, I actually like more than the franchise tag.
I'm the same. I'm the same.
Because essentially what it does is give you first refusal. So you do enter free agency, everyone can bid on you, you find your value, and then your team can choose to match that value to keep you. It's very much like being a restricted free agent in that regard.
Essentially.
Yeah. But you can essentially add that to someone's contract. And this year, for some reason, they're allowed to do it because they're not sure on what the bargaining agreement might be moving forward.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, it could maintain that going forward, but it might. It looks like it might not.
But it's going to certainly be a windfall for a few teams out there who might want to make use of it.
Yeah.
So what do you think we expect to see?
Well, we've got a whole bunch of players to cover, and there's some of them that I think we'll all agree that we're going to see at least a couple of these franchise tags used, maybe a transition tag on a couple of them as well.
I think 2 on the offensive players, 3 maybe.
But do you think it's going to, like,
forward.
come the 12th, we're going to see a flurry of activity? Is there lots of teams coming out and players unhappy, or lots of news going on?
There will be some movement, 100%.
There'll be players dropped.
Okay.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
So if you've got dynasty teams out there, keep an eye out.
Yeah.
Because of the franchise tags, because of how much it costs for franchising, certain players will end up without a team in a hurry. They'll get picked up when it comes around to the free agency pickups, but teams will want to cut a bit of money, teams will want to save a bit of money, and it'll all heat up.
Okay, so another key element of free agency and all this move around is the salary cap. So that's the amount of money each team can spend on players per year. And because the franchise tag can be quite expensive, you might have to make room by cutting some of your other players.
Yeah. So if you want to franchise someone and you don't have that cap space, something's got to go. So you're going to see players hit free agency that you wouldn't have expected to hit free agency. So we saw the move where Boye's gone to Denver. That could be related to cap space based on them wanting to franchise tag someone.
Okay.
It might not be. I've not looked into who they've got, who they'd want to do it with. It doesn't feel like there's anyone.
No.
But there is
and
a
they
potential.
They don't have a lot of money to do it with.
Well, this is it. So if they're getting rid of him now for a bad deal...
Even with him going, they don't have a great deal to be...
They don't, no.
Franchise tag, and like you say, who...
But they could... Yeah. Exactly.
More to the point. Yeah.
So if you're talking fantasy relevance, from what I can see from tags, so I'm looking out if I've got a dynasty league for that day.
Yep.
Are my guys getting binned, which is not obviously what you want. Are you guys getting tagged? Are we going to see any players refuse to play under the tag?
Well, we're jumping ahead a bit because there's one that we're going to probably have a word about coming up when it comes to running backs that might be affected by this.
But is that a potentiality? Not necessarily.
Oh yeah, we've got to look at it because potentially one of the biggest players of last year,
as a result of it, can be huge.
Could just sit out.
Yeah.
Particularly it's running backs because of the damage and the wear and tear.
Okay.
Because if they play for a year and they're playing under a franchise tag and they've been tagged and they're earning perhaps a third less than they think they're worth in the free market agency, are they going to really want to put that miles on the clock when they know that if they sit out for a year they'll be healthier and they'll earn more money the year after?
Cool.
It's Ball all over again. He's set a precedence.
So we are looking. So it is an incredibly important day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
very
It's
much
big
so.
for Dynasty. It's big for Fantasy.
And not only that, it then leads on to the next big date in the diary, the 16th of March, which is the legal tampering window.
Okay.
So, if you haven't franchise tagged the players that you were looking to franchise tag, you can then start talking to the potential free agents that you would look to fill that void on your team, which can open up a lot of windows for the 18th of March, which is when free agency begins.
Okay, so why is it called legal tampering window?
Because
that's an odd tag.
Officially, they aren't allowed to speak to players regarding potential contracts. We're looking for you, that kind of thing. So they can't have any backhanded deals where they go to a team and say, we're going to offer you this. They can't say, oh, well, I got offered a little bit more from the Chargers, so I'm going to decline that and I'm going to sign with them.
Okay.
Surely no one would say they're going to sign with the Chargers.
Well, hard to believe, I know.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's the official opportunity for teams and agents to speak with players and agents.
And then the big one is the free agency.
Yeah.
And that's when everything heats up and when all the predictions go out the window.
It was sort of an anticlimax last year, I think, wasn't it? They were expecting a big furore into the free agency and not a lot of activity happened.
There was a few around.
This year is a very different landscape to last. I mean, if we start to talk about some of the players on offer, for instance, should we delve into the free agents?
Yeah, the biggest name, by far the biggest name.
Yeah. I mean, he's had a 20-year successful career. He's coming to the end, undeniably. How much end it is left, we don't know. But he wants to play till he's 45, and he is currently 42. It is, of course, Tom Brady.
Dun, dun, dun. Is the dynasty ending? Is he leaving town?
Now, he has a specific contract that no other player that I'm aware of ever has had or has, in that he can't be franchise tagged. So he is hitting free agency at his wish. That's not to say he will go to another club, because the Patriots they might just test the waters, see what's what, because ultimately they'll be looking to move on from him before too long.
Why do you think Brady, who's been the most success ever at a team, would want to leave?
Why would he want two reasons.
Yeah, why does he want
There's
to
either the money, and he wants to just have the biggest paycheck he can have.
Yeah.
Or maybe he wants to see if he can do it without Belichick. Maybe he doesn't want that hanging over him, that he wasn't that great, he wasn't the GOAT, and it was just Belichick.
That he's a scheme quarterback.
So if you're Tom Brady, you want to prove
potentially.
So say that is the reason. That's his motive. He wants to get under that umbrella so no one can say, it was all because of Bill. Then surely you've got to go to a contender.
Yeah.
I would say so. But just further to your first point there, Wig, a little bit, he could be seeing what teams are willing to pay him to see whether the Patriots would match.
So do you think
to get a better value of himself from the Patriots, to see how underpaid he feels he's been the past 20 years, because ultimately he's taken a lesser contract, so the team has more money to spend on other position players, which is a very team.
They do have a lot of cap space this year as well. They can afford to pay him if they want to.
They do, but they've got a lot of positions to address, as they always do every off-season.
The reason I think he might be doing this is because the Patriots are not willing to commit to him being the starter for the next 2 years. Because I think potentially Bill is not happy with what he saw from Tom, and the league's going in a different way, and he might want to move in a different way, because I really think he wants to play till he's 45, and he wants...
I do, yeah.
Because that's what he said.
Nobody wants to retire.
No?
They have to, because of physically they're not able to play on anymore, and they hate it when they do. Their life has been, from a child up until the time they retire, has been Sunday football. I'm playing football and having a long summer off.
He's never taken too many bad hits. He didn't get beat up last year.
He's had many a hit over a 20-year career.
But he's never had any... He's never taken a hit.
Yeah,
you look at it and say, that's a career-ending hit.
Yes, he has, yeah.
Not in the same way you see, like when Mariota got flatlined, or when Romo got a broken back. You don't see those kind of hits on Brady.
He's had some. There's a Bills player, they gave him a good thwacking on a run play, but it's not his style of quarterback, so he doesn't get...
that 15 years ago?
Yes, it was. But he's had them over a 20-year career. They certainly add up.
Didn't he end up rushing for a loss this year?
Does that most years, though, doesn't he? Because he keeps taking the knee. So
the victory position has taken quite the toll on his running total.
Like 3 attempted rushes for -1 yard.
So what are we hearing on the grapevine where Tom might be?
Testing the waters. It's uncertain. communication may have broke down.
There's 3 potential landing spots that I've heard.
If he wants to try and win, and he wants to do it without him, where are we thinking he could go?
Well, the 3 that I've heard are all Super Bowl playoff
So
bound.
the Titans are being bounded around. They were one game away from making the Super Bowl.
The 3 teams I've heard, the Titans being one of them, the Cowboys, because Jerry Jones wants him, and the 49ers.
With a trade with Garoppolo coming back.
Correct.
Yeah. Could he potentially end up at Tampa Bay?
No,
Why couldn't he end up at Tampa Bay?
because it's a Bruce Arians offense and they need somebody with an arm, which Brady hasn't got.
Brady can throw a ball.
Not very well.
I can't see him.
He can't throw deep. He can't throw middle. It's not good. His passing this last year wasn't.
So what you're
great.
saying is that he's
Wasn't
not a
bad.
good passer.
No,
And he can't rush because he rushes for a loss.
Theirs is an aerial offense.
Yeah.
And they need somebody who can throw deep when they need to throw deep, and he'll be throwing a lot. And I don't think his arm can withstand that quantity of throwing.
No, but I was
Personally.
trying to walk you into that.
Okay, thank you.
If he can't throw the ball and he can't rush,
Yeah,
But imagine him at Tennessee, though.
Tennessee would be great.
Yeah, fantastic.
The 49ers would be
Tannehill
great.
did nothing
Great.
wrong though. Tannehill was a quality quarterback for them.
He was,
Yeah.
but it's the element to Brady's game which no other quarterback has is his ability to read the game, read coverage, organise his protection on the line, fill those running plays, which is the 49ers for me. He's the prime,
Yeah, a lot of
prime target for them.
A lot of screen
Garoppolo,
plays.
as good as he did it, doesn't have the same knowledge and the same ability to read the field
And
as
he got
Brady
rattled.
does.
He got rattled in the Super Bowl, and that doesn't happen to Brady. You've got to think if they got Brady, they probably would have won that game. They would have seen it out and won. That pains me
To
to
the
say it as well.
Cowboys.
But
Do we think the Cowboys?
No.
I don't see them swapping
I don't
Dak
see-
for.
I don't think it'd be a swap. I think because Dak's at the end of his contract, they'd let him go. I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
know if the Patriots would be interested in Dak. They could be because
I don't see it.
I don't. I mean, stranger things have happened, but
of course.
I don't. I think Brady to somewhere like Tennessee. He's got very close links with their.
The positive thing about him going to the Cowboys, going back to the Cowboys, is their offensive line.
Oh,
That is a hell of an appeal for any quarterback.
I think if Brady was picking, he'd go to the Cowboys.
The Cowboys, the Colts, or the Steelers,
Oh,
with behind any of their offensive lines, and you'd think, yes.
the Colts would be brilliant for him.
Tennessee's
Colts would-
offensive line was underrated.
Yeah,
good.
no, it's
They were-
very
they were
good.
solid.
I didn't mean to discredit them. in
And
any
he's
way.
got connections at Tennessee.
Yeah,
Yes,
Vrabel, yeah.
But we
But-
could talk about Brady all day.
Yeah.
Fantasy impact. If he goes as a Julian Edelman owner, I would be gutted. Gutted. Going from a potential top 10 wide receiver to probably nothing, even in the twilight of their careers, I am very much hoping the band stays together.
I don't think so.
Well-
I don't think it would affect Edelman as much as you think.
We're leaking
No.
a bit. If he went to the Cowboys, Cooper and Cobb, both free agents,
Okay.
who'd be the wide receiver call for it?
Just Gallup.
Witten.
Gallup, Witten, yeah, Austin.
Yeah.
Witten would be his Gronk.
Yeah, he's so used to Gronk for all them years. Don't worry, we've got Witten. You'll throw the ball, he'll fall over. It'll be great.
Would Witten be coming back for one last final hurrah
One
again?
last go.
Because he's with Brady.
Well, fuck it.
Yeah.
Why not?
Is he
Why
ever
not?
going to retire?
Never.
Just when I thought they were out, they pulled me back in.
So the next one, and one that's interesting to me, is Rivers.
Oh,
Another great.
No, he's
Oh.
not great. He's a temper tantrum.
He's a
He's a
sixth
bad influence.
best quarterback overall in the history books.
What has he ever won?
He hasn't won anything, but
Yeah.
he's thrown a very good career. He's had a 16-year
Wow,
career.
he's successfully failed for 20 plus years.
You can't say failed when you've made playoff
He's
appearances.
been- oh,
and
he's-
stuff, you know.
he's been strong, QB.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Competitive.
Yeah.
You dislike him, I know that. but
Dislike him.
you-
He's a bad influence to have in your team.
I disagree.
No.
Competitive. You want to fight for him
Yeah, but
because he gets
does
you going.
competitive? No, he doesn't, because he blames everyone around him. He blames his team for the problems that he's had throws an interception, it's his offensive line's fault. Even though they've given him all the time in the world to throw it, it's someone else's fault.
I don't know.
So
Anyway,
there's talk of him potentially ending up in Florida.
Really?
Yep. So a team over that way.
The Colts, again, nice offensive line. I think he'd do well there.
Yeah. I just don't want him at the Colts because I've got a bit of a soft spot for him.
You've got a soft spot for everybody.
No, the Colts. I like the Colts last year.
Everybody but Phil Rivers.
Everyone in there about.
Golly!
But I think the Colts. I think that's where he's going.
I think so. He may have moved to Florida or wherever it is. It may be that he's moved to, but the Colts. Sorry?
You said he got an arm.
Rivers?
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't mind throwing the ball into risky situations. And
That'd just be another Winston on last year, though, with the amount of
This is
interceptions.
it.
that's what he was last year.
Surely
what I
it's
mean.
got to be Tampa Bay.
No, he's not. I don't, why? What's the point? You've got someone that does that anyway.
Yeah. He might be a bit cheaper because he's older.
Well, that's it.
Winston's got new eyes.
I genuinely don't care where he goes. He will be a
Just not
detriment
the
to any
Colts,
team he goes
the
to.
Chiefs or the Eagles.
Well, he won't go to the Chiefs or the
No,
Eagles.
no.
The Colts, I really hope the Colts don't do that to themselves.
The Colts
Bad
want.
move. They're on the cusp of greatness.
They want to
Yeah.
win now.
The
They
next
wanna win
guy
now.
on our list would be a much better option for him, and that's Teddy.
The Colts.
Teddy with the Colts.
Why? Because they had so much fun with the backup last season and it did really well. They're not going to sell that to the fans.
To be
Guys,
fair, Teddy isn't
Teddy's
a backup.
quality.
He was a starter for the Vikings and he did very well there before the injury.
And he's
And
shown
he showed at
yeah.
the Saints. He was
He's over that
serviceable,
injury.
I
very good.
don't think a fan base that's seen Andrew Luck walk out the door and then have to watch Brissett for a year is going to be overjoyed by Teddy walking through the
He is
door.
100% an upgrade on Brissett.
Yeah.
He is, but I think they would much prefer Rivers.
no.
Just do.
I do.
Just do.
If Brady went to Tennessee, then Tannehill to the Colts would be my preference over them all.
Okay, Tannehill would be a good move there.
Because he's
I
just
have to
solid.
say as well.
And the Colts feel like it's just an upgrade.
To be honest,
I-
the Colts is such a good position to walk into.
Yeah.
You've got T.Y. Hilton.
Yeah.
Have you still got Doyle,
Yeah. Doyle.
who got injured a little bit last year, didn't he? I think. You've got a running back in Marlon Mack.
Yeah.
You've got a superb offensive line. You've got a good defense. It's all raring to go. It's like walking into a
It
nice
is.
new
Yeah.
fancy sports car. Get in it and get driving.
Yeah.
And
That's it.
Don't put Rivers behind the wheel.
But I
Well,
think
I
they
don't
will.
think it's a bad.
No,
there's
don't
not a
do it
bad.
to
There
yourself.
isn't a bad quarterback on this list.
He would blame the offensive line that is a solid offensive line that is getting to know each other really well and really can offer a crazy amount of protection. You don't need Rivers blaming them for his failings.
Bitter, isn't he?
Did you see him in his last
better.
game with the Chargers where he threw an interception for fun and then shouted at everyone else around him? And that was his lasting legacy there.
He was having a rough
He's
day,
a
wasn't he?
child.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Let's see. But I mean, where's Teddy going to go? Sadly, not to the Bears.
Yeah,
Teddy Bears. That would be such a good move. Please, God, somebody make them become the Teddy Bears.
Because he is a straight up upgrade over Trubisky.
Yes.
I mean, good lord.
Yeah.
Why
Yeah.
not? But it's not going to happen.
I quite
It's
like Trubisky.
definitely not being talked about by anyone outside of this room.
We're scooting over the fact that Breeze is technically a free agent, but they don't have a lot of cap space at the minute.
They'll make
We
space
want
for it.
them to re-sign him. They've said as much. He's said as much. It's
Yeah.
going to happen. So, whilst we've not mentioned Breeze, it's only in anticipation of the fact that that signing is all
All but
said and
sorted.
done.
Yeah.
It's there. It's just not official. yet.
Sadly, those talks of Taysom Hill taking over the franchise were
Yeah.
short-lived.
Well, he'll still be there.
Oh, he'll still. Well, no, he's a free agent as well.
No, they'll keep it.
Could we muse about the thought of Breeze behind the Colts line?
Oh.
That'd be lovely, wouldn't it?
Wouldn't it? Or even better, the Bucks.
Breeze in the box. Yeah, just cobbing that ball.
I don't see him with the arm strength to do that anymore.
No, he hasn't got. He can throw, but he
Not
can't throw
regularly. No.
as much as they need him to.
No. Sadly for my Godwin and
Bridgewater
Edmonds.
to the Bucks.
Bridgewater would be great at the Bucks, I think, but he's not that style of Arians player. I don't think.
No.
I think they want a guy who can lob it. Mr. Dalton.
Stay there.
Do you think he's going to stay at Cincinnati?
No,
I don't think so, because it's too expensive.
No, God no, he'll be gone.
He'll be a good fit at the Colts. He'd be a good fit at the Bucks, because he can throw.
Get him at the Bears.
The Red Rifle.
Oh no.
And again at the Bears. Yeah.
Bears.
Yeah. Could see him at the Bears.
I just see him staying there. I think.
No, why do they pay that much? They've got to pay AJ Green. They've got a high draft pick, which they look likely to spend on Burrows because he gave such a good interview.
Because Burrows will stay behind him for a year, learn the job.
That is nothing. What planning? Oh, the greatest college performing quarterback in the history of football, and you're like, what you need to do is you need a year learning under Andy Dalton.
Well, they did that with Rodgers, though, didn't they? Behind Favre. He wasn't the number one, but he was a first round pick.
Behind
Bet Favre.
who is not exactly in the same category as Andy Dalton.
No, there is that.
Who they benched for a terrible replacement.
A year for Andy Dalton with them. I can see it happening. I don't think anyone's going to pay him big money.
Too expensive.
And that's not the Bengals way. It really is. They'll throw him out there and they'll want him to win.
Yeah.
My thinking is that Dalton will stay where he is.
I am willing to bet significantly against that.
Definitely.
If you would like to.
I think that's where it'll end up, is still at the Bungles. Because it's the Bengals.
How much are we talking, Luke?
What are we talking about?
Whoa. I'm not saying I'm betting, I'm saying I think that's where it'll end up.
Yeah,
I don't see anyone paying.
Otherwise, and we think you're wrong.
Yeah.
Alright. We can
we
agree to disagree. No, you're not taking an easy bet on it.
Is it worth a cheesy garlic bread?
Oh!
The vultures are sniffing.
Because that's not going to happen, people.
No.
Not in this world.
No.
Andy Dalton has been rumoured.
As sensible as that might be, it's not going to happen.
No.
It's only because it's the Bengals.
Well, among many other teams would do the same.
Yeah. But his hero sat for under Alex Smith for a year, didn't he? And that's just what he wants. It's the chosen way. But Dalton, I heard things like Pats, Bears. He's going to be a very good game manager, reliable.
But
He'll be a great quarterback for a team that doesn't want to win this year. And then there's Marcus Mariota, the least desirable of all the free agents.
Number two draft pick behind Jameis Winston. Is that correct?
Yeah. And he had a record-breaking rookie year.
And a fantastic moustache.
I think he will.
How much to base a franchise on, unless you're Gordon Minshew?
Well, exactly.
He will be in demand.
Are you saying a backup for Minshew with a Tash?
Tash replacement, that's it. Minshew down, bring out the backup Tash.
If you want a backup,
Well, that's
who's
it.
better than Mariota?
Big money backup, though.
Money?
You don't necessarily have to give him that big.
He wouldn't command any more than any of the names.
Oh, no, he wouldn't, but he'd be going as a backup and the others wouldn't.
And he's young.
He is young, yeah.
He is.
You know,
Was he like 25 or something?
Yeah.
He's still young, yeah.
Huge potential. He's had a nasty time of it. He's taken some stingers that
Thing
have
is,
prevented his hand.
Yeah,
he
but
could be a diamond in the rough. He could
Tannehill
whack
came
him.
in and showed how bad he was, though. That's the thing that'll sting him, because Tannehill came in and took a team that was struggling to the playoffs.
I think that's on the basis that Tannehill is a bad quarterback. Tannehill's a better quarterback than people gave him credit for.
Yeah, he was at the Dolphins.
Yeah, but he did well at the Dolphins.
No, he was at the Dolphins and they sucked.
I don't believe it was the Dolphins' fault. I believe it was their head coach's fault, but that's the difference.
Well, something
One of
happened
the
because
many
Fitz
head
came in and
coaches
Fitz
that-
was fantastic.
That's because Fitz is another level.
Yeah, but
He is
didn't,
another level.
He is another free agent.
Wasn't
Well, no, he's another year,
Yeah,
isn't
he's
he?
got a year, yeah.
wasn't Thingy playing under Tannehill playing under Gaze?
Gaze.
Yeah.
And they briefly had Philbin.
Okay.
And then briefly somebody else, and then Gaze.
Okay.
So where could Mariota end up then as a backup? Who's going to want him as their backup?
Oh God! If they had the money, the bloody Steelers should, but they won't. They won't do that. That's not the Steeler way.
They don't have any money.
They've
This
got
year.
no
They're
money.
broke.
Yeah, they are broke.
They've got to hope they stay healthy this year.
But
Where could he end up?
I mean, he could potentially go anywhere. if he's not a starting job, there's plenty of places that could look. I mean, look at the proliferation of injured quarterbacks last year. Every team.
What about the Patriots?
Yeah.
Backup.
Yeah.
What about the Bills?
Yeah.
Yeah, he could do.
Yeah, I'd take that. I'd be happy with that.
Yeah, decent backup.
Yeah.
He's also a bit of a different kind of quarterback to Allen, so you could use him in a few different
He
ways.
has got legs, but he doesn't use them very often.
He's also got a fantastic ability to catch his own passes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of alright backups around the league. The Giants, maybe?
Yeah. Yeah, the Giants.
Yeah.
But again, the Giants probably don't want to spend the money on him.
I think he'd be looking about an $8 million contract.
It's a lot for a backup.
It is.
You don't want to play.
Breeze is what they paid Teddy last year.
Teddy was potentially going
8
to
to
take
12.
over from Breeze. Like if anything happened to Breeze, which
he's a
they
free
thought
agent.
might have happened. Yeah. And a solid one. And in a year when they thought they got a good chance.
Yeah, there's a lot on the backup.
But Mariota, a bit of an enigma this time.
Yeah.
My favourite free agent, even above Brady, starts in the running backs. It's Henry. It's the franchise tag potential. It's the sit out.
We've overlooked Dak Prescott
We
did cover him
Dak
briefly.
Prescott, and we've overlooked Jameis Winston.
and James.
Now Prescott, I don't think we have to talk about much because I think he is going to get tagged, and he's
I
going
think
to
so.
want to play under the tag. He's going to. I think
Yeah.
it's the best circumstance for him. Wait until they have to do Mahomes' contract, then
And weigh
sign your
himself up
contract.
against it. I
Yeah,
think.
because it's going to the amount of money is going to bounce up. Play under the tag, earn your money from that. It's going to be a massive payday for you. Get your long-term contract deal in a year or so. Why not? See what it's like under your new coach, new manager. You might bloody hate it and want to leave, but so I think he's getting tagged. Winston, are they going to give him a 2-year deal? Maybe 29 million, something like that.
It's very much. There's nothing.
Yeah, Winston's an awkward one.
It is. There's talk that he gets franchise tagged.
Yeah, they could do that.
I can't see it myself.
No.
I don't think they would. A 2-year deal might be a good option for them, just to see how he adapts to his new eyes and his shoulder.
Yeah. I hope he stays, because I loved watching the Bucks last year. You never had a dull game, did you?
No.
Let's just
So much
gun
fun.
it out.
Yep.
Yeah.
What a team. And would that change if they had a new quarterback? Probably not. It's the Bruce scheme. But Bruce does like a vet. So we'll see. And the comments he's made about Winston haven't exactly been glowing.
No.
So,
Yeah, I don't think he stays there.
It's a lot of money for him to stay there.
yeah, it is. It is. But, where else are you going? Who else is available? What they're doing? Tannehill.
I don't see Tannehill at the...
I mean,
I think
Tannehill
he
won the
worked
best
very well.
most games when he wasn't throwing the ball. That's
Yeah.
not exactly
That's
the
true.
Bruce way.
That's true. That's true.
Not
He
unless
was-
they bring Derek with him.
Dalton then.
Because what do you
Not
think's
bad.
happening with Ryan? I think they could tag Tannehill. If they don't get Brady, tag Tannehill. Or try and sign him.
It's going to be an interesting few
Oh.
days ahead.
It is.
Really is seeing how all this unfolds.
Yep.
But it is fun to speculate.
It is. Yeah.
As you were saying, Wig, sorry. before I
Yeah. But I'm
interrupted
just
you.
too eager to jump to it.
I know.
The
you-
big
Henry
man.
impacts
I thought I
the...
felt a thud on the table.
But Henry does impact the quarterbacks. Because if Henry decides coming up that he's not going to play under a franchise tag, they're not going to give him the money he wants, because he wants the same money that Gurley's getting. He wants to be up there with the top paid.
Oh, God, yeah.
And last year he showed that he's worth it.
Yeah.
So they're going to want to tag him. And if they tag him, he's not going to want to bang himself up for another year. So he'll sit out. And if he sits out, is Brady want to go there? When he knows that they've lost the best defensive weapon? Is Tannehill going to want to sign up under a tag? I mean, they can't tag them both.
I think they transition tag Henry. That's what they'll want to do. See what the market will pay him and then pay that.
But even then he might sit out.
Why? Because he wants to, go into free agency and have exactly the same thing happen again?
I don't think
Without the sitting there with a team that's probably not going to win.
he's less likely to sit out if he's transition.
Less
tagged.
likely, but there's still a potential if he doesn't
Well, no,
think
because
they're winning something.
it's a contract that he's agreed to.
Somewhere else,
Yeah.
but with the Titans.
Yeah.
And if they're
No,
paying him the money,
Somewhere else has agreed a contract with Henry,
Yeah.
and he turns down the Titans. He
Yes.
goes to the other team.
Oh yeah. But
So he's not going to sit out a year.
No.
Depends if he wants to win.
I don't
Because
think
the money
no,
that they'd
no.
have to spend on him, they wouldn't be able to bring in Brady.
He wants to get paid. Running
He wants
backs,
to get paid, yeah.
running backs are not. I mean, they would love rings, but they're not in that business. That's a QB business. Maybe
Yes.
a wide receiver, but your career isn't long to think I want to win. You want to get the
But he can
the
think about
13
it.
million a year. Yeah, I don't care. I think he cares where he plays for. I doubt he'll want to play under the tag because the tag for running backs isn't great.
What he wants is 3 years of guaranteed money. He wants the David Johnson, the
Yeah.
Todd Gurley, the Lev Bell monies.
And that went
What,
so
did
well
he
for
beat
all of those
injury to next
teams.
year?
Yeah.
Yeah, here's all your money. Oh, don't forget the McKinnon, Jarek. You know, he did well on this big contract, didn't he? I mean, it's a death nail. Even poor old Zeke didn't have a great season after they dropped all that cash on
It is
him.
a death nail, but you won't get one of them top running backs without using a death nail on them, unfortunately. And they're not going to play for a year contract when they want a 3-year deal.
I don't think teams overly care about the top end running backs, to be honest. And
Depends, because Henry carried a team to the playoffs.
I loved watching Derrick Henry drag the
Fantastic.
Patriots up and down that field.
So good.
It was amazing.
I mean, it was a Patriots, admittedly, but I didn't have Derrick
No, I got him in
one
sixth
year
round.
that I've never had Derrick Henry.
But I mean, I think he stays. I think they keep him because their offense very much relies on him, as was. But that could change. I don't know who else wants him.
Yeah, that's the thing. Who's going to pay him the money?
Because
The Bills.
if you've got Derrick Henry,
And then the Bills will.
I don't think they will.
It'd be bloody great though with the Bills, wouldn't
Bloody
he?
would.
Yeah.
Oh, up there in the cold with that guy running at you every week.
I fucking love that.
The secret weapon.
Oh, man.
Send it in the tank. Yeah, not with Singletary. I don't think they'll do it. But
They do need another
they do.
running back.
Why not?
There's a
Oh,
number
if
of
only.
lists on this list that I think would fit
Yes.
well at the Bills.
Better than Henry and all the big money.
So what about the man that proved that sitting out a running back is a stupid idea?
Mr. Gordon?
Yeah.
Yeah, he might
Ryan
have
Gordon,
fucked
same
himself.
position as last year.
So he's now a laughing stock in the locker room, and if he re-signs with them, he's going to probably re-sign for less money, certainly than he asked for. Is that going to happen?
God knows with that one. God knows. Who's going to pay him?
He's not going to get what he wants.
No. No, I don't know who's going to pay him. Because he's good, but he's not a great running back. So he's
Well,
certainly
his
not.
performances last year.
Yeah.
My gosh.
And he's also tied in with Eckler, who's a free agent. Because they're not going to pay them both.
No way.
And Eckler's shown more willing and shown that he can do Gordon's job.
And not as greedy, I don't think.
Yeah.
Either.
So they could probably bring in.
I think. But yeah, I mean, where is Gordon going? Dolphins.
Ooh.
Okay.
They've got
maybe.
the money. They
Yeah.
can pay him.
They've got the need.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah. I can see that. Eckler. Whilst we're on the charges, what happens there?
They've got to keep him, haven't they?
They need to keep one of them.
They'll keep Eckler, surely.
I think they'd keep Eckler.
I reckon though.
I'd prefer to keep Eckler if it was my team. Although the Chargers aren't the best at dealing with people or contracts. Probably, if not the worst, one of the worst run organisations in their dealing with players.
God, he was an undrafted free agent.
Eckler.
Yeah, and they are total free agents. They'll just sign him. But he could be quite in demand. I mean, he's showing more of the kind of running back, the versatility that they want. Because really, a lot of teams don't necessarily want that Derrick Henry hammer blow running back. They want someone they can throw out wide to. They can run screenplays. They can run play options. It's a very versatile role, and I think Eckler certainly this year proved he could do that. There's a goal line threat.
Every element of the game, he was an all-down back, really, wasn't
Gordon can do it as well, though. So as much as we're giving him a bad rep,
he? He was not good last year, though, was he?
he wasn't bad. He just wasn't. He wasn't how
He wasn't
good he was
Eckler.
the year before.
And in the games that Eckler was playing, Eckler way outshone Gordon last year.
Yeah, a little better.
But one of
That's
those
a
guys
difficult
is moving though.
Well,
isn't he,
Eckler's
really?
going to stay at the Chargers, surely.
So
It's
Gordon's
less money.
going.
It's going to be Gordon. Yeah. And they've got a backup with Justin Jackson as well behind that, who also proved he was decent.
Yeah, I like Justin Jackson.
So Gordon just doesn't have a home there.
Quite the overhaul on offence, haven't they, the Chargers? They've lost Travis Benjamin.
Yeah.
They've lost Rivers. They're going to lose Gordon or Eckler, and there's another tight end that we're going to talk about later.
We talked about all the QBs moving around. Never mentioned anyone going to the Chargers. Are we just assuming this is a Tyrod Taylor offense?
Well,
because all the talk was Brady going to the Chargers, wasn't he? Fill out the new stadium.
Yeah.
Moving to LA.
I mean, they could just have Winston and have some fun.
Because they don't have an offensive line.
They don't, but Winston doesn't need one.
Well, that's true.
It doesn't take much just to throw the ball 50 yards.
Yeah, but
yeah.
So Eckler, we think staying.
Gordon will be
Gordon
somewhere.
will be moving, but we're not quite sure where.
So who else do we have?
I mean, Drake's staying.
Drake's staying, yeah.
Is he?
Yeah.
They've already got 14 million tied up in David Johnson.
Yep.
There's no way they can afford to pay Drake
I don't think
similar kind of money.
Yeah, but
you
Drake
can't have two running backs on your board on your team at that price.
Oh, they won't be at that price though, and Drake won't command that much either.
He's going to be a top end.
His potential for a tag is what he is, because they're not going to tag anyone else.
I can't see them having two running backs on the books at that
but
price.
it's a transition tag. They might try and just see where it comes out.
They might.
And what they might look at is letting him go and just slotting someone else in. I mean, there's a few others coming up. There's Breeder.
This is something we picked up on last year because they paid a 5th round draft pick for Drake.
Yeah.
And we thought at the time that's a peculiar move.
Yeah.
Because they're not playoff bound.
No.
It's a 1-year contract he's on. Why are you spending that high a draft pick, for a player that you've just spent a lot of money on, a running back that you've got a lot of faith in?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, injuries and...
That's it. It all comes down to the Johnson injury. If he's injured his back, which is kind of the rumour that's going around, then he might not be fit for next year. Then they'd have to keep hold of him.
But what do they do with the David Johnson contract?
Well, no, they'd have to hold on to Johnson. Well, they've said that they're not getting rid of Johnson.
It's too much. Too rich.
I think they'd like to trade
too
Johnson.
rich for
They'd like to, but no one's going to take him because potentially he's got a back injury.
But guess where the rumours are of Drake heading? You'll like this, Swig.
The Chiefs?
No.
I was going to say they can't afford him.
No, it's more an impact on your dynasty league, if anything.
Oh, is it the Colts or something stupid like that?
Not the Colts, the other one.
Lions?
Yeah.
Oh, for Christ's sake. Seriously?
Apparently they are the interested party in Drake. And they
That's an interesting
such a
one.
Mess of a team.
I think Gordon would be a good move at the Lions.
Oh, I'd love that.
No.
Mainly because it
Carry on,
crashes Carry On.
But he is that similar kind of player, but better.
It's what they want to
Carry
do.
On, I think.
Yeah.
I could see that being a good fit, Melvin Gordon to the Lions.
I think it's Howard's the next one on the list. And with Howard moving on, it means the Eagles have got nothing but 5 random running backs that none of them have laid claim to anything.
The Eagles with Miles Sanders.
None of them have laid claim to it.
I think he pretty much did.
Yeah.
The end of the season, he was
used more,
far and
but
away the best
no one else was fit.
running back. Well, they had Boston Scott, didn't they?
Yeah, and Boston Scott was
Boston.
Yeah, he came from nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. What I'm saying with them is they don't have. They've got one rookie who was used more than they wanted to use him.
Yeah, but he was great.
Yeah.
Wasn't great.
He was
Miles
great.
Sanders is the one going
You're
forward.
talking like a Philly fan, though, aren't you? It's like, oh well, they didn't just immediately annihilate everyone in front of them, so it was a terrible performance.
I liked Miles Sanders at the start of last year.
Yeah, he did.
I just don't think that he's that running back.
I think he was great, especially because the Eagles didn't have a wide receiving core out there. The opponent's cornerbacks I think they were looking around trying to find the Eagles wide receivers.
Yep, the
They're
Eagles were trying to find wide receivers. Their wide receivers were Goddard and Ertz.
Yeah, exactly. And he made hay when Sanders was good. He's a good receiving.
But
He
without
is
Howard-
what they want.
Oh, it'd be nice, but they can afford to bring in one of these names. If Howard goes, they can bring someone in.
Yeah, Howard. I think Howard will go. He's not.
I don't think he's going to stay.
But I don't. He isn't. He isn't the back that NFL teams want, is he? He is your downhill runner. hammer it in a straight line.
Yeah.
A lot like Miller.
I mean, Howard could be good at the Seahawks, to be honest. That's what they like doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, why not?
He is a bit banged up now.
Bam,
He seems to get injured quite easy now, does Howard.
If Henry wants to pull out, he'd be.
Henry at the Hawks.
Oh yeah.
That's too much money.
I know it's too much money, but what a dream.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah.
So Miller, is he going to have a job after this free agency? Is anyone going to pick up on him?
Does he have ankles?
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
not sure.
he had a job because apparently the Texans just don't think running backs are a thing. Like they technically have to play one.
Gordon to the Texans.
No, it'd be a waste of money. Absolute waste of
No,
money.
he'd be a great fit there.
No, it'd be a lovely fit
Great.
for us, and we can see it. But when did the Texans ever utilise a running back properly? They used Hyde in one game and did really well with him, and then were like, "Oh, let's not do that again." That
Did they do
almost
that
worked.
with Duke Johnson as well?
They did,
Yeah, yeah.
they did.
Just use him for one game and stop.
I don't think much of Carlos Hyde, and I don't think much overly of Duke Johnson,
No.
but an elite talent like Gordon could make a difference. Lamar Miller, his day's done, isn't it?
Yeah.
I can't see it. Unfortunately, same with McCoy.
Yeah.
Same for
Yeah.
Shady. Yeah, can't
You know,
see. Unfortunately, they're bit part players.
Too injured
if
now.
anything, going forward.
Yeah.
However, there's little Matt Brader. bringing up the
Yeah,
rear.
that's an interesting one. Now
It
that's
is an
someone who
interesting
could
one.
go somewhere and could do something.
I think he'd actually be a good fit at the Eagles.
Yeah, he would. Yeah,
Yeah,
he'd be
yeah.
good for a lot of
Yeah.
teams. Though.
Yeah, oh,
That's the
yeah,
thing with him. He'd
certainly.
be good for a lot of teams.
Great.
Certainly.
Yeah.
Great call.
Gore, is that?
Yeah,
Immortal Gore. Yeah.
Immortal
You should
Gore.
go back
He
to
wants to
Miami.
play for.
Well, he could play for the
I think
Texans.
he's,
You know, he'd have a safe year and he would get too banged up not being
If he
used.
plays for another 3 years,
Yeah.
he'll be playing in the same league in the NFL as his son. If his son gets
Oh, that'd be amazing. Oh, he's got to keep going.
drafted. Isn't that insane?
Yeah, and he was playing when just think of some of the names that have come and gone with him. He was playing when Rice was playing, wasn't he?
Yeah, I believe
He
so.
was playing when.
Well, so many greats.
Oh yeah, many greats.
Hunt.
Hunt is going to stay at the Browns, I
See
believe.
why not? See why not?
It's
So-
it's a 1-2 punch.
Yeah.
Come on.
That brings us on to the wide receivers then, I think. So from the top of the wide receivers, the biggest...
His biggest highlight.
Okay, for me, the biggest is Cooper.
Yeah,
I agree. Yeah.
there's an interesting name besides Cooper.
There
but
is. And
there's
some...
two.
They're both incredible wide receivers. And when the other one is fit, is a far better wide receiver than
But Cooper's got the
most in
future.
the NFL.
But
Cooper has got the future.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
AJ Green hasn't finished the season in
Yeah.
4 years?
Yeah.
Fully?
But the problem with Cooper is his disappearing acts.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, remember the last at the end of the season, they were keeping him off the field,
He can be so good.
but then so bad.
And then so bad.
And I just don't know if Dallas are going to see enough to get him, and then if not, where is he going to go? Why Pats need wide receivers?
Mm-hmm. There isn't many landing spots for him, is the thing.
I don't
Yeah.
know. The
Could he go
Bills-
back to the Raiders?
The
Bills.
Eagles, they need wide
Eagles do need
receivers.
wide
Eagles
receivers,
do
yeah.
need wide
That'd be a
receivers.
nice drop. Oh, I'd like him at the Eagles.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Carson Wentz throwing in the ball. That's
Yeah.
probably better than Dak.
Got to be better than Dak. But what about Green though? Who'd pick Green up? Would it just be as simple as going to the Pats?
Again, I think if you're going to keep Tom and you've got to give him weapons, Green could be one of those weapons. But as far as I am aware, they are going to get Burrows and tag Green.
That I've heard that he's to be tagged. I've heard the same rumours that it looks like AJ Green's going to be tagged.
Oh, that's just.
It's
I
not
suppose
what
it's
he
something
wanted.
for Burrows, isn't it? But
It is something for Burrows, and it's a big thing for Burrows, but God, I hope he stays fit. AJ Green. For his, because I feel so sorry for him. What a player. And then injury. Pre-season, mid-season, all over the place. And it's
Line
just-
up that Bengals offense, and it is scary. It
It,
can
it,
hurt
yeah,
you.
there's some names on there that make
it's
you...
not just that.
twice.
They've got Alden Tate. John Ross played all right with them
John
last
Ross, yeah.
year. You know, they've got
Joe Mixon.
and Joe Mixon. They've got some nice offensive
Ridley.
weapons, but they haven't got much of a line unless they can get everyone back healthy. and it just seems like their line's particularly prone to banging up.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't have a left tackle last year, did they?
No, they didn't. Their draft pick unfortunately went down, which hurt Mixon.
Instantly.
But they're back.
Yeah.
They're back.
So
that could be interesting.
Yeah.
definitely an interesting one. I'm eager to see what happens with Sammy Watkins. Super Bowl winner, had tons of potential, and he's talking about sitting out for the year.
No.
I know.
He said he might sit out if they won the Super Bowl. I think that's just...
Well, they won the Super Bowl.
Another
he's
player
got
that played in the
agency.
Super Bowl, though, who is still very prevalent and shown that he's a great receiver in spite of his increasing age, but Sanders.
Yeah, but again, big money.
I don't think it's that big. He's 31. You know, he's never been a massive production player, but he'd be a fantastic fit at the Eagles.
No, I don't see it. They tried that every year. Let's bring in that deep threat who's a bit older. And every year he gets injured at the start of the year.
He's across the field runner.
He's just a possession receiver. He's just
Good
fantastic.
I've only ever seen him do well with deeper balls. He's not great with possession. I mean, they used Debo in the slot.
Are you kidding?
Yeah. They used Debo for it, didn't they?
And he was outperforming Debo.
He was great.
Not later in the season.
Not later in the season,
Yeah.
but...
So as soon as the legs started to go on him as the season went on, which is exactly what the Eagles don't need more of.
I'm not convinced. I think he'd be very good there, Sanders.
No, I'd much rather Cooper.
Very different players, though. Very different players.
God, he'd be
Cooper
good
and Eagles.
I'd like to see him at the Hawks. Could you imagine...
Who's Sanders?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Hawks would be good.
Yeah.
The Bills need a big target receiver, and I think Cooper would be a good fit there.
Yeah.
Somebody over 6 foot.
They definitely need someone
Yeah.
over 6 foot. I mean, you know
See
who
the
would
draft.
fit in that? Would be that Sammy Watkins guy.
Oh, Sammy Watkins at the
Great idea
Bills.
to get my Bills Watkins jersey back.
So the wide receivers, not quite as many of them.
Funches as
Yeah,
well.
big lad,
Yeah.
big lad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very big lad.
So,
So,
not quite so exciting, but
No.
quite a bit of movement.
yeah.
And we've got some tight end movement, some bigger names and tight ends,
Yeah,
but
very big names. There's 3 massive ones straight off the bat. Ebron, Hunter Henry, and Austin Hooper.
yeah.
I think Henry might get tagged.
Henry's got the injury
Henry
problems.
is rumoured to be getting tagged by the
Yeah,
Chargers. I've heard the same.
If he could
a
just
lot
stay
of talk about
fit,
that.
he's up there with the best of
Oh,
them.
yeah,
definitely.
But he just can't seem to get fit.
Wouldn't you like him, though, at the Patriots?
Ooh,
He would be great.
Good. Yeah.
If they had the money, if they go Henry Hooper,
Oh,
Oh, wow.
Henry Hooper
Yeah.
Brady,
Yeah.
Wow.
let's go. But I don't think they can
Hooper,
afford.
Hooper to the Pats would be a real good move.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
He is a quality tight end.
They need a tight end.
And the
Ebron
Bears
seems-
are another team.
Yeah.
that really
Yeah,
need a
yeah,
tight end.
yeah, definitely.
Ebron to the Bears could be a
But
good.
Ebron
Yeah.
just hasn't seemed to have quite reached that potential it looks like he's got in him. He's a strange one, Ebron. He's quality when he's good, but then you see that he's good, but then it never seems to keep happening.
Yeah, it seems like a one-off. Like, was that just him having a good game,
It
or is
happens
that what
often
he's?
enough that it's not just luck.
Yeah,
But then he disappears for a bit, and is that through scheme? Do they just not use him as much as they could? Or is it just that he's not dependable? It's a strange one.
it is an odd one. It is an odd one.
Yeah.
But that's the brief summary of the key. Some of the top targets in free agency at each position. We obviously covered quarterbacks and running backs in a bit more depth, just because I think there's a lot more prevalent names in there that could shift the dynamics of many a franchise. Whereas receivers are just a bit built on top of the
There are also
two
not quite as
quarterbacks
many
and
in the
running backs.
elite brackets there.
No,
They're-
precisely that. Yeah. Oh, Robbie Anderson's.
Oh,
I'm a big fan of Robbie
yeah.
Anderson. Yeah, and he's on my dynasty team, so I'm watching that
double
one.
whammy.
Yeah, I'd really like him to drop at
just-
the Eagles.
Yeah.
Cooper and Anderson.
Yeah.
That was Wig resembling the effect of them on field, not just dropping a fart. Thank Christ, because they stink. So that's basically it for this episode, but in coming weeks we will be talking about we'll have an episode on Fantasy 101 for those that are a bit less familiar with terminology, understanding of the game.
Bit of an idea we've got coming, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're a kind of a separate to the side.
Yes, yeah.
Running through fantasy from the basics all the way up to how to pick which player is going to break this week.
Yeah.
But a real 101, starting out for those people who have no idea with fantasy football, running all the way up to the point where you know nearly as much as we know. So
hopefully more.
Yeah.
And we'll have an in-depth look at rookies for this upcoming NFL draft, which there's a lot of exciting players this year. This is a much better draft class on last year.
Yeah.
For skill players, at least.
By a substantial amount.
Last year's running backs I preferred. I really did prefer last year's running backs.
It's still waiting to see some end results from that, though.
But we'll talk about this in more depth, because I think that me and Ben might be disagreeing, but I liked last year's running back class, and I think we'll see them coming good this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I mean, if there's anything else that you guys would like us to talk about or discuss, then feel free to get in touch with us on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram. But I think that's it for us. Unless you guys have...
No, I think we've covered the important things, the interesting stuff that's coming up. We've got a week to mull these kind of things over, see what changes. There'll almost certainly be changes before the tags start to drop.
Yeah.
So it'll be an interesting week.
So I think next week we'll be looking at either a Fantasy 101 or some rookies. Or a combination of the two. We'll see. But we won't be talking about franchise tags, because next week's recording is on the same date as the deadline. So we'll have to wait for that to unfold before we record on that one. So thanks for listening from It's Football Not Soccer. Guys, goodbye.